Morning, guys. So recently, I just noticed on Dawn. I don't know if you know her SouthPaw Bushcraft. If you've seen her channel before, you should check it out. She's doing a giveaway, and she wanted people to go out and see if they can identify something, some kind of wild edible in the bush that that you can identify and eat and use as a food. A lot of people. When they go looking for wild edibles, they're looking for plants or flowers or mushrooms, this kind of thing. But I just wanted to make a point that, sorry about the airplane, guys. I got an airplane landing in the water right behind me over here. A lot of people don't realize that there are actually trees that you can eat, and pine, being one of our favorite bushcraft trees out there, is one of them. So basically what you would be looking for is a white pine or a red pine or whatever it is. I tend to go with white pine for my pine needle tea, but yes, you can make tea of the needles. You can also find pine nuts out of the pine cone, unopened pine cones. Those are kind of a rare find, for me anyway. I find usually the critters get to them before I get a chance. But also, there's the inner bark, which is something that a lot of people didn't know. Now, the inner bark can be boiled down or cooked and then consumed, and it'll give you something to nibble on while you're waiting for something substantial to come along. It'll keep you going anyway. There are some medicinal properties also. You've got the tree itself has a lot of vitamin C in it, and it used to be used to treat scurvy. So they would boil this stuff up and drink the liquids of it, and it would help with vitamin C deficiency. So I'm going to see if I can gather up some white pine needles, and we'll see if we can identify it, and we'll move on from there. Now, I'm pretty sure I'll be getting some questions on the books that I use. The book that I use for my wild edibles right now, or I've been using for a long time now, is this guy right here. It is called Edible Medicinal Plants of Canada. I do live in Canada, so this is my book of choice. In particular, I live in Eastern Canada, so whenever I need to use a book, this has a lot of the stuff that I need in it. Right here in front of us, we have a baby white pine. We're going to give you a close-up of the needles, and I'll show you how to identify it. Each set of leaves is going to be attached to like a little cluster. Now, if I was to pull one of those clusters off, there we go. So I've got one in my hand. And if you count the needles, you'll have 1, get off me bug, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just a baby one I have here, and the needles are 3 to 5 inches long. This guy's right on the 3 mark, but it is just a baby. I've got my hammock attached to one right above you. This is I wouldn't call it a sapling, but it's a little bit bigger, and the needles are about 4 inches on this one. And right behind me, I actually have a hemlock that I'm attached to. And the hemlock is actually another wild edible also. In spring, for both of these guys, you can consume the inner bark. So they're supposed to be nice and sweet and tasty in spring, and a little bit more tender than you would find in later on in the year. So not only are pine trees great for fire and a good resource for bushcraft, with your pine resin, making glues and this sort of thing, and having the fat wood, using and harvesting fat wood for fire as well. It's also a good edible. It's great for building, carving, and it's also good for bow drill sets and medicine. In the future, if you're interested in trying out some pine leaf tea, go right ahead. It's great stuff. But of course, there are cautions with all kinds of wild edibles that you eat. Don't overconsume, and try not to, do your research, find out the risks, if there are any, of your wild edible, and go forward from there. I mean, the best thing I think you can try to do is try to identify everything three times, 3 different ways. If you're able to do that, then you should be good to go. And if in doubt, try to ask an expert. Go to a local college or something like that. See if there's anybody out there, a mycologist or arborist or anything like that can actually help you out. Hold on. I hope this is not a dandelion. It is something quite common, but I was hoping to, to maybe surprise somebody with something a little bit different than the, the common plant. So that's my contribution to this, is a pine tree for wild edibles. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Get out and explore, and I'll see you on the trails. Take care. Just remember, guys, if you have any doubt, throw it out.